We seem to live in a world where common sense has just gone out the window and critical thinking seems to be a thing of the past. Ace got talk. Don't be foolish. Welcome. Welcome to another edition of Our Theory Show. Ace got talk. A few weeks ago, I had the pleasure of being joined by the company of Dr. Jude Joseph from Nasha African Cultural Centre and the Royal Empress Amanda Bass. The show was such a huge success, and I got so much comments from the viewers saying, Ace, the show wasn't long enough. The hour just flew by. And you guys asked me to do a practical solutions part 2. You guys specifically said, we want to hear more from the doctor on his practical solutions in this current pandemic. So this evening, welcome back, Dr. Jude Joseph from the African Cultural Centre, Nasha, and Amanda Bassett. How are you doing, guys?
Fantastic. As always, I just want to thank you for inviting us back on the show. You're great yourself, doing some phenomenal work. So, it's a pleasure to be in the company of greatness.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant, brilliant.
Thank you for having us on.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And thank you very much for coming back and sharing your knowledge with the viewers. So today, we're not going to ramp with it, and we're not going to dress up our words. We're just going to go boom, straight out the bat. Practical solutions. That's what the viewers want to hear. As you know, we've had to make some adjustments of late, and people want to know what can they do at this time. And I'll give you a quick little story. Funny enough, and this is real talk. A sister called me last night, and she said to me, she goes, Ace, Dr. Jude Joseph, is Nasha at Cultural Centre, is it in Croydon? I was like, yeah, he's got the shop and, up in Croydon, and they've got books and workshops and classes and all the rest of it. And she goes, as soon as this lockdown's over, I'm going to go there. I'm going to be involved, because there's so much people that are watching the information that we've been discussing and we've been putting out, not only on our MediaNet TV, but I know we've done a couple of telephone link-ups.
That's right.
And the feedback is phenomenal. People just want to hear from someone like yourself. They, at a time where there's so much fake news being, and obviously, as you know, fear and panic and scaremongering, and a lot of people have switched off from the mainstream, and they're only now really plugging into people that are calm, cool, collect, and actually have got the answers to some of our problems. So, brother, share with us, please.
Like you say, I mean, the last time we came on the show, we were talking about the current epidemic with the coronavirus, COVID-19, and the frenzy and how people are panicking and people thinking, how long is this going to be going on for? How bad is it going to get, et cetera, et cetera. So, as we were very much solution kind of conscious and thinking about solutions, I went away and then I went on another show. My brother from Each Teach Radio, he had a show and I went on that show. And it was when I came off that show that I came up with the solution, which I said was the £1 million challenge. Sometimes, like you said in your introduction as well, common sense is not the most common thing. And what I realized is that we have a problem in our community, well, in the world in general, and that is that people don't know how to think. As crazy as that sounds,
Brilliant.
People have been taught what to think and not how to think.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
So
absolutely brilliant. Sorry, my brother.
Yeah.
Let's let them soak that one up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's rewind that one and just give it to them again one more time on the
Yeah.
because that one was sweet. I don't want to. I think that one went over their heads. Let's give it to them again.
I mean, I sat down and I was thinking, and I thought, the one thing with me is I'm a thinker.
Me too.
And people who think differently can sometimes be seen as being controversial.
Brilliant.
Like they
and
like they're crazy.
Yeah.
They're going against the grain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if you see fishes swimming in one direction, 20 are going that way, and you're the only one going the other direction. Yeah. Everyone's looking at you like you're crazy or you're weird or like, why are you going in that direction? So when you start to look at people in the world, whether it's your David Icke or certain people, you mentioned him about how his thing's been pulled off YouTube and so forth. It's because when you think differently, you're not going to come up with the same solutions like everybody else. So I'm saying that since we came off your show, we've had so much people calling us, both negative and positive. People are loving what we're doing. The whole point of why we even started African Cultural Center was because we realized that this problem is prevalent in our community, meaning that we're not thinking correctly. And I can give a few examples just to kind of emphasize that. Like,
Brilliant.
for example, and this is how silly it is. Look at your hand. If I said, "What color are you?" what would you say, looking at yourself?
I am brown.
Right. But most of us say we're black.
Hmm.
People say we're the minority.
But yet we're the global
Majority.
majority.
Right. People will say, let's fight for civil rights. How can you fight for something that you're born with? We're civil by nature. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying this to say that we're not thinking properly. And I learned how to think. My mentor taught me how to think.
Because you hit the nail on the head when you said, and that's why I said pull it up, because I know it went over their heads.
Mm.
You said people are told what to think,
and
not how to think. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
And that's the basis of everything else we're going to discuss, because when you look at the questions, the issues, I mean, I had a sister on the phone before I came on your show in tears, and that touched me. And the reason she was in tears is because she felt so strongly about the £1 million challenge. And she was like, I'm so emotional. Amanda was there because I had her on speakerphone, and she's not the first one. I've had a lot of this, and this is what's really driving me to continue what we're doing. And when I say we don't think properly, there's only one solution, not solutions with an S. A lot of the time, this is what we do because of the way we think. People say, I'm fighting for my rights with an S. You only really have one right. You know, we can expound onto this, right? But what I'm saying is that the £1 million solution is just that one solution, because we're saying let's achieve that challenge. That's one thing. If we can do that, a lot of the other things are redundant, because we can then say, okay, A Scott Talk is doing a good job for the community, and he needs to be funded so he can do bigger and greater things. Because I told you already, you're doing it anyway.
Exactly.
But with the help, it would mean that you could take what you're doing to another level. And we could do that with anyone else in the community who we vet and say, that sister over there, Cheryl Phoenix, or the Naturally You coach, she's been banging on about teaching children for ages, having our own homeschooling. Let's fund her so she can continue that work. You know, we've got another brother, the entrepreneur. He's trying to get young children to learn about being an entrepreneur. So what I'm basically saying is, if we think properly, we can actually deal with the solution. Like, you know, I don't want to really go too much into the solution at the moment, but we can come back to that.
Yeah, because I think it's clear for the listeners, because me and you are on the same page, but it's clear I think it's clear to make to listeners what exactly the £1 million challenge is. Make it clear for them what the challenge is, what it is you want to achieve.
Okay. You know, we all have our purpose. Like, I'm sitting here, my DNA coding, RNA coding, how do I not know that this was programmed in my DNA to do what I'm doing today?
Come on.
And you're programmed to do what you're doing today. So whether we like it or not, we have certain things to fulfill as a purpose in our lives, right? Let me tell you what this is all about. Do you know what Martin Luther King was killed for, or why he was killed?
Break it down.
No, I'm asking you, like, do you know?
There's
Or anyone in the listening audience. A lot of people think it was marching for civil rights and all of that. He was killed when he started to talk about economic inclusion, right? When he realized that the only way we as a people were going to achieve what we needed to achieve was once we had the economics. Economic deals with money, because in this society, what they do is they use what we call the D's, right? The 4 Ds. And I've added a fifth one, which is dismiss, discredit, demonize you, destroy you. And if they can't do those things, then put you to death. economics is our problem as a community, right? When you look at other communities, they're able to organize and do certain things because they have the resources.
That's right.
This is why I kept going on about the 5 floors of Claude Anderson. The first floor is economics. When we're facing a crisis, as we are doing with the coronavirus, and we find ourselves stuck at home, we haven't got supermarkets where we can get food, we can't do so many things, the solution is economics. That's why I said the £1 million challenge is, if we can get £1 million, and I made it so simple, meaning that every single person can afford a pound. People could take a pound right now and throw it away, yeah, and wouldn't feel no way. Or go and buy a McDonald's or trainers or all the stuff, do your nails, whatever we do as a people here, £1, right? And I know people think, well, it's still my pound and it's important to me, and people have conned me in the past or whatever. So I'm not going to give you that pound. But what I'm saying is, as I said before, that thinking is warped, because if you can take that pound and throw it away, put it in a bin, and you can carry on with your life as if nothing had happened, then if you're putting it towards a good cause, right? For our people, for us to be able to do something with it that's going to help us collectively, then the thinking is that if I give it to you, I'm not going to give it to you because I don't trust you, or because I'm afraid, or because you're going to do this and that with it. To me, that's not thinking correctly. As I said originally on my first video, last point, transparency is not a problem.
Can I interject? So let's forget about those people for a minute.
Yeah, I'm only saying that to say the people that have been calling me, you have negative and you have positive.
Forget those.
So
let's say coronavirus has unfortunately wiped out all the negative people in the world, right? So right
You'll
now,
never be able to do that, but
right.
yeah.
So right now we've got an audience of positive people watching this show.
Yeah.
They've never heard of Dr. Jude Joseph before. They've
Mhm.
never heard of Nashat,
Yeah.
African Cultural Center. So if you were talking to the listeners for the first time, the first time they're watching you and they're listening to, oh, I've never heard of this guy. What's he about? What's he about? What would be the appeal for them to take that pound out of their pocket right now and say, do you know what? I'll give him a quid.
What I would say is, find out about me. I'm very accessible. Like, we've got the shop, we've got the center, our phone numbers on the website, we've got email, we've got our addresses on there, we've got the bank account details on there. We're very transparent. So I'm saying is, they could research me, they can find out more, they can talk to other people, see what I've done in the past, get to know me. Because if you don't know me, then you might not feel comfortable, or like you say, like, I don't know him, why should I give him a pound? But this is my problem about the thinking.
That's right. And that's the same here, because it's not just Jude himself, it's me and others, and we're taking it across the board to manage this. So I therefore would advise that you do the same on me. We're registered at Company House. We've got the right organizational structure for what it is that we want to do, and we're also managing. Well, I'm also managing the finance. So that if you want to investigate us. But the main thing is that as a community, which is what we've been beaten about, and this is why we opened the chat, is that if we want to call ourselves a community, then why, like all the rest of the community, do we not have our main facilities, our main institutions that are run and owned and overseen by us? What makes a community?
Right.
And we talk about, all right, finances. So then where is our bank?
Let me interject there, sister, because
Yeah.
what I don't want to do is go over the same stuff that we've covered. But I'm throwing you a question there because it was an angle I was coming at, and I'm going to try and paint the picture a bit clearer.
But let me just quickly answer it though. In terms of, you said, I don't know you, why should I give you a pound?
I didn't say that.
What,
I said, well, why would someone donate a quid?
I'm saying that,
Okay, I was going to help you out, but go on.
But what I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying about thinking. I could walk on the street and give a excuse that term, give someone on the street that I've never met in my life. I've given people more than a pound. I can walk past someone and I think, let me help you out because you look like you need some help. Yeah. And I'm saying our community needs help. don't look at it like it's for me. This is not coming to me. It's coming to our community. And I'm saying I will give. People give money to cancer research.
Yeah.
Let me,
They give money to different
let me,
types
well,
of. Yeah,
I was
sorry.
I was about to go down there. So I'm just playing God's advocate because I want you to get to that million. Because if you get to that million, I know it's going to not only help, it's going to benefit my community, it's going to help my grandkids and my great grandkids. I know that you guys will be able to do amazing things with that. You know,
Yeah, it's about
that
leaving a
cash
legacy.
flow
It's about
and
leaving
the
a-
leverage. But let me help you out here. Because we were all talking prior to coming on air about the everyone's familiar with the story. I mean, I don't watch mainstream TV, I don't watch mainstream news, but several people have told me the story in quite some detail about apparently a war veteran who was, I think, hobbling up and down in his garden with his Zimmer frame, and he raised £20 million for the NHS. And shout out to the producer, shout out to everyone at MediaNet TV, because one of the researchers was saying off air to me, they were saying, Ace, nobody, all those, remember, we got 66 million people in the UK. Ace got talk, do the maths. I'm wearing that t-shirt today, right? We'll do the maths. 20 million people, sorry, 20 million pounds was donated, yeah? Now let's just say everybody donated £1. Yeah, that's 1/3 of the nation.
Right.
Donated £1 and they've raised 20 million. One of the researchers was saying to me off air, they were saying, Ace, not one, let's just say it was 20 million people that donated £1. Not one of those 20 million people are going to track and trace that money and say, where did my pound go? What have they done with that money? So no, I love you guys. You know, I love you guys. So I find it quite painful to sit here and when you say things like, oh, they can check us out and they can check on companies' house and
That's
scrap that conversation. Yeah. Because we passed that. Do you get what I'm saying?
I thought we had.
We had, but some of the we've had both positive and, like we said, negative. So this was hopefully our way of putting across to those that came, and I don't want to perpetuate the negative that came in, but this is for them as well, because like my brother said, we've been taught the wrong way to think. So I'm just trying to say the piece so that maybe it might drop a penny and that they might start to rethink how they do you know what I mean? See what we're doing.
What I mean, personally, I know where you're coming from. Ace Got Talk. I'm a radio presenter, and for the last year, as you know, I've presented the Business Community Entrepreneur Show. So I've spent a year of my time interviewing 3 people on average a week and encouraging the community to be more business-like, more entrepreneurial, more business savvy, understanding the importance of controlling our own economic destination and our own economic future. And it can be frustrating at times, you know, because some people get it and, you know, a lot of people don't. And I know you said, you know, we've been told what to think rather than how to think. And a lot of us do have that poor man's mindset, you know. But I think when it comes to something like what you guys are doing, which is such an amazing, absolutely amazing appeal, we need to just forget about the negative people and only focus on the positive.
You know what?
people.
I wouldn't even say it's negative because people have genuine concerns because they may have had bad experiences with other people or donating or investments or whatever with other people. And so, you know, once you've been burnt, you're going to think twice the next time, right? So there's nothing wrong with people having a genuine concern about, I don't want to be taken for a fool, right? But at the same time, like I said, in terms of how people think, we've got to a point where we've lost that community vibe. We've lost that whole thing about why we're doing something, not for the individual, but for the benefit of the community.
I would agree with you 100%. I would agree with you 100%. Go on, Amanda.
And I just wanted to like add on to say that what we're doing for the community, with the current situation, like everybody's saying, things economically are not going to be the same once the lockdown is lifted. And we as a community, as a people, are in a bad state as it is in terms of economic and finance. So what this is a part of is trying to then circumnavigate the challenges that will come with all of that, you know?
I'm 100% with you. and maybe it's my position and my vantage point in the community and maybe the stuff that I've been involved with, but I'll give you an example. So don't get me wrong, let me make it clear. I'm 100% supportive of what you guys are doing, and I'm your biggest champion. I'm your biggest fans. You know, that's why you guys are here on It's Got Talk Afui show.
Yeah.
I'm your biggest fans. But what I'm saying is my experience, and I can only go by that, has taught me, and I'm going to use this example, Auntie Jean, the African cultural market. She's raising £5,000 for the Garvey village. I interviewed her twice on my radio program, once last summer. And we put an appeal out, and she got a few people donating. And I was surprised that I think it was a few months ago, I saw an advert come up on one of the social media platforms. Auntie Jean still raising £5,000 for she still hasn't hit the target. So I'm saying, if Auntie Jean, right, who's got the African cultural market, can't raise £5,000, right, and I don't want to do mash up my maths. What is it? 100 times 55 grand in it? Yeah, that's right. Right, now break this down. Let me tell you something. The last time, just before this COVID thing, I was headed down to Auntie Jean's. Do you know she does the African cultural market and you get guest speakers? I was meant to go down there and do the guest speak, and I was actually going to walk in that room, right? And I'm telling you guys this, yeah, because I was going to walk into Auntie Jean's African cultural market. I was going to pick up the mic and I was going to ask all the audience, how many of you know Auntie Jean? Everyone would be like, hey, we all know Auntie Jean. You know? How many of you have donated to the Garvey village? Because they got enough people in that room. One link up that Auntie Jean should have had her £5,000. She does the African Cultural Centre every single weekend. Croydon, Brixton, Luton, Lewisham, and she can't raise £5,000. So when I'm playing God's advocate today,
but you know what?
I'm saying if Auntie Jean can't raise £5,000, right? And it's not the cause. The cause is there's so many great causes in our community, and there's so many people that have come together with great ideas and great causes, and they want to take that to the next level. But because of that, the thinking of our people, I find that is the biggest challenge.
Well, you see what it is. The biggest difference with anything anyone else is doing and has been doing is coronavirus, COVID-19. The world changed on us, and we got to see what it means if we don't get our act together and do certain things and work together. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we achieved the challenge, what would it take to give Auntie Jean the £5,000? Nothing. You see what I'm saying? These are the things I'm saying. I know different people are doing different things in the community, and I work with some of these people. We're doing things in the community for free, and I've been doing it week in, week out for years, right? And I'm saying, I know the challenges we face. I know the challenges everyone's facing. And the problem is, if we came together and did this, everyone will be okay. Because we can look and see, we know who's doing work in the community and what they're doing and how it's going to benefit the community. And the experts are going to come together to manage. That's what I'm saying. Like, when I said to you, if we reach that challenge, a lot of the other problems go away because it's economics. It wouldn't take nothing to say, you know what, as a committee, the people managing the finances, okay, Auntie Jean's doing a project and she needs X amount, and we'll be like, co-sign it, because there's not going to be one person making the decision. And
you can see where that would filter out, because what Auntie Jean does is a market, and that is like what I did, because I started my business off as going to these markets and selling Carry Design. So can you imagine that she's there facilitating that, and that's what helps facilitate my business, because we, with smaller businesses, go out to these events to sell our goods.
That's right.
So you can see the sense in it that if she's sustainable and can continue this and throughout, once the lockdown is lifted, you know, we will be then empowering all those other small individuals that are doing a little bit extra, because half of us still have had a 9-to-5 job and on the side did our businesses. So that will continue that.
And it comes back down,
go on.
It comes back down to the problems that the coronavirus and this whole pandemic has created. Jobs are being lost. Businesses are being shut down.
We know all about. I want to ask you a question. We know we could go through all the jobs lost, business. We would go through that. I want to ask you a question, because how do we get the mindset of our community to change? And I'm going to give you 2 examples before you
Mm.
answer that. I've given this example many times before, but I recollect a temple, an Asian temple in the area where I live, and you know, shout out to the Asian community. I admire their togetherness, the way they work as one, and they collected Coke cans and recycled the aluminium cans. I got a penny per can for 10 whole years. 10 years picking up Coke cans and recycling them, and they raised millions of pounds, and they built a massive temple. They've got loads of temples in my area, but some of them are actually, from an architectural point of view, absolute amazing. And that just shows the power of unity. And we can look in so many different communities and see so many different examples where they come together in unity to achieve amazing things. It really frustrates me. I mentioned this on my radio show earlier, the amount of money that in our community we spend on hair care. £1 billion industry. So just the money, if you added up the total that we spend on hair care, it could open schools, it could open hospitals, you know, daycare centers, banks, the lot. Just what we spend on weave, something that grows naturally on your head. So I get the cause. I'm with you. I get what it can do for the community.
Your question is, how will we change the mindset?
How do we change the mindset
Right.
of, you know, these individuals that would prefer to get their hair and nails done than invest in their kids' education?
This is why the whole purpose of us opening the African Cultural Center
was because of that.
because we realized that, and what do we sell in there? Books to deal with the mentality. Because you've got to read, you've got to study, you've got to be able to, because what the one thing that everyone has in common, black, white, yellow, green, purple, the one thing we have in common is we can change our mindset. And once you change your mindset, you can think and do differently. That's, everyone can do that. Any motivational speaker, greatest writer will tell you this. Like, if you start thinking a certain way, you're gonna start acting a certain way. So going back to the 20 million that the one man raised, I'm saying, like, if he can raise 20 million by himself, like you said, people didn't know him, they didn't ask, where's my money going? And I'm not saying for 1 minute, if you want to ask, if you want to find out where your pound is, please. I'm telling you,
where's my pound? Hey man, where's my pound,
man?
Where's my pound, man?
Let me tell you, there was a brother that called me. I ain't calling no names, and we were on the phone for at least 20 minutes. And he was telling me how this is not going to work. It's been done before. Well, it didn't say that, but that's what was coming across. And I was like, I can't be held accountable for what anyone else has done in the past. No. I can only do me. Do you understand? Like, give me my chance, check me out, scrutinize me.
Hands,
I mean, I can't be held responsible for whoever else.
That brother, what you should have told him, he needs to go and hold accountable the people that made his ancestors work for 400 years for free, because that P certainly totaled up.
The whole nation's built on our sweat. That's our
you understand
that's
me?
our value.
Our sweat equity.
Just going back to what we do, that was the whole part of the reason that we set up Nashat for books, because just how we have been programmed, we also can be reprogrammed. So that was the whole point of having Nashat, so that we can start thinking differently, thinking out of the box, thinking for the liberation of our people.
Straight.
Because like you said, where we rather be, sometimes doing nails, doing hair, doing everything, but thinking about, when we leave, what do we have to leave behind? What do we have?
Absolutely. And it's not just, the thing is, when you start, and I said it, and like you said, some things will go and fly over people's heads, right? Because to think is a gift. And most people
it is in this time. It is in this day. I used to think it was standard, but the brother's right. I'm gonna soak that one up. To think is a gift. Because not everyone has that ability.
Get an opportunity to think when they stop going partying, listening to the music, and
switch off the
TV. It might be when you're in jail and you're sitting in silence. Then you start to think, and you're like, boy, you know what? This thing's patterned wrong. And then you like I said, if you're thinking giving £1 to a cause is anything off your back, there's something wrong with that thinking. There's like my niece, she's 11 years old. She donated £1 without thinking.
Don't break my heart, bro.
No, I wanted to cry when I heard certain calls that people call. You know, people calling me from Africa to tell me, like, you know what, we're catching hell right here. Are you able to help us? And I had to say, you know what? The challenge is to raise the £1 million. We haven't got it yet. You understand? We can't spend a penny of it until we reach a certain amount where it's substantial enough where we can start helping people. You can't start asking for this one to get money and that one to get money when we haven't actually reached the target. So I'm saying tears do come to your eyes when you think about how we're being treated around the world. So what I was saying is, what's different about this time round is because people are seeing what's happening to us all over the world right now, how people are treating us as a people. And the fact that fear is another thing, like doubt, fear, trust. These are the thinking that has been programmed in us where people are not thinking right because they're thinking, I'm not going to give you £1 because I don't trust you. Well, why don't you trust me? Have you ever stopped to think about that? Like, you don't know me. You haven't checked me out, but you're able to say you don't trust me, for example. Not that anyone's saying that. I'm just saying this is the kind of thinking that we get.
Interesting. Interesting. My brother, thank you very much. A Scott Talk, a Philly show. So from one charitable organization to another. Tonight, I want to highlight an organization that's been doing amazing work, not only in London, but nationally. As you know, due to this current pandemic, self-isolation can increase mental health. Not only can it increase mental health, but it can, this whole pandemic, and as the doctor rightfully alluded to, the whole fear-mongering, it has caused people's stress levels to go up, it has caused anxiety, it has caused depression, and unfortunately it has even caused some people to feel suicide and others to even try to take their own life. Real Talk Radio, www.realtalkradio.co.uk, have been on the front line when it comes to the fight in mental health. And I'm pleased to tell you that Real Talk Radio have launched a national counselling service. As of today, wherever you are across the UK, England, Scotland and Wales, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling stressed, if you're suffering from anxiety or you're feeling suicidal, all you got to do is go to www.realtalkradio.co.uk and click on the help services page. If you fill out a blue form, a qualified trained counsellor will contact you within 24 hours. Once again, the website is www.realtalkradio.co.uk, and if you click on the help services page, they've now launched in direct response to COVID-19. Real Talk Radio has launched a national counselling services. Additionally to the counselling services, I'm pleased to tell you that Real Talk Radio is also, oh, by the way, guys, sorry, the counselling service is absolutely free. Anybody wants a counsellor, you can get in touch with them and then you get free counselling after you've spoken to the Pathway team. Additionally to free counselling, Real Talk Radio is also offering free financial education. I know a lot of people right now are struggling financially as they haven't worked, and unfortunately some people have been just living paycheck to paycheck. So with the stop in pay, it has caused some people to have some financial difficulties. So if anyone is struggling financially and they want to speak to a financial educator, once again, go to the help services page, fill out a form, and you can speak to a financial educator. On top of that, if anyone is getting bad advice from their employers and they want advice on the current government furlough, they can also get in touch with us and you can get employment advice. Last but not least, if anybody lives inside the M25, Real Talk Radio have been doing free, yes, once again, free food parcels for anybody that lives inside the M25 with your north, south, east and west. These food parcels are for vulnerable parents that are stuck at home with children. and also the elderly and the terminally ill. So if you've got your grandmother or your auntie or even your mother that is at home and you can't actually get to her because of the social distancing and self-isolation rules, Real Talk Radio have actually been delivering grocery shopping to the sick, the elderly and the vulnerable. And once again, if you go to the website, that's www.realtalkradio.co.uk, click on the help services page. Last but not least, I just want to add to the listeners that all the work that Real Talk Radio have been doing has been completely independent. They haven't got any big sponsors. They're not backed by any government funding, and they rely on public donations. So guys, no matter how little, all donations are appreciated, and you can go to www.realtalkradio.co.uk, help services page. The bank account details are on there, the charity company numbers on there, and at the bottom of every page there's a donation button, guys. So all donations do go into buying food that then gets distributed to the most vulnerable members of our community. So it's got talk, a Fui show. Dr. Jude Joseph, African Nashat Cultural Center, and his colleague. I'm joined by the Royal Empress Ornella. Welcome to the
thank you.
It's Got Talk show. How you doing, sister?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Brilliant. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with Nashat.
Okay, well, by profession, I teach in post-16 education sector.
Brilliant.
I teach GCSE English, functional skills, English and maths, adult literacy and ESOL. Been doing that for about 20 years.
Brilliant.
I'm a colleague of Amanda and Jude. I've known them for quite some time, and I've always been involved with Amanda where I can. She's always been very productive in the community, and I'm really grateful and I feel honoured to be part of Nashat and part of this fundraising initiative, because I think it is so important at this time to reflect on ourselves as a community and really assess how we can help each other. Because if we had the resources, we'd be able to, you just mentioned helping the elderly, food banks. Amanda mentioned homeschooling, Judith mentioned other, businesses that we could be supporting, which then could thrive and then help other businesses and improve our chances of becoming self-sufficient.
Definitely.
So that when we have a crisis like this, we're not worried about income, we're not worried about how we're going to help the elderly, because the resources that are there. We have a network of professional people in education, in finances, people that work in IT, in communications. All of the resources are there, the educational resources or the qualifications, but the finances aren't there. So once we have that and we can put everything together, we're gonna, we're in a much better position to help ourselves rather than, asking for handouts which may not be available.
Definitely. And what would you say to the listeners at home that, like I said, I personally believe, and it's my perspective, that you've got some people in our community that are very much for a I'm all right Jack mentality. And there'll be people that be sitting at home right now, they just don't think like us. They don't think that actually if I invest in that, that building over there, that's going to benefit my children and my grandchildren, and a community center. It's going to be such a great thing to have in the community. They just sitting there thinking, well, I'm in my house right now and I've got my TV and I've got my cat and my dog and I'm all right. What would you say to those people to try and change the way they think?
To be perfectly honest with you, Ace, in my opinion, you're not going to be able to change everyone's mentality. There are going to be, you only need to walk down the street to see people walking 6 feet behind the person in front of them because they're being told they can catch something. You've got people living together that want to go into a shop. They have to be separated to go into the shop, although they live together. It doesn't make any sense. But people are trained to not think and to follow rules.
That's right.
There are going to be people that you can reach, whose mentalities you can change. It's not going to happen with everyone. But the point is, the information is there. So if you feel that there is something that you can be doing to help to change people's mentalities, to help our condition as a people, then your duty is just to do it. And what transpires. So The people, you know, sitting at home not leaving because they're worried about, you know, contracting an illness or whatever, that, you know, are constantly washing their hands and, you know, wearing masks 24/7 and stuff.
Yeah.
You may not be able to reach those people,
Yeah.
but there are others that you can reach.
Yeah.
So you do
Yeah.
what you can.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think I can, so I just take the mick in my own little way. Like, you know, I just wear masks like this that say "Don't be foolish," and I offend. So I've offended quite a few people with this mask. Do you know what I mean? So I said, "Brilliant! It done the trick." Do you know what I mean? But sometimes you just got to put it in the face. Don't be foolish. You remember people say, "Is it written on my head?" Well, it's literally written on A. Scott Talk said, "Don't be foolish." Doctor, what time frame would you like to hit this target and achieve you want to raise £1 million to help the community? And what time frame would you like to raise that in?
Last month. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the thing with us as a people. It's like, if you give a time frame, knowing us, if I say we need to do this by the 30th of the month, people wait till the 29th and then try and do it. This is how we think. We're very like, again, because we've been taught, like, we think in the wrong way. So we do things in the wrong way. Just touching back on what my sister Anela was saying, and you touched on, is that it's not so much that you can change everybody's mind. It's about the people that are, that's why they say birds of a feather flock together, yeah? So my brother Dean Okay also says, and I know he echoes this from Claude Anderson, that racism is a team sport. Meaning that whilst you're sitting there by yourself thinking, I'm okay, you've got people or communities or group of people who are working together, right? And in some ways to your detriment. So it's not about an individual sitting at home and I'm okay, because you by yourself are not going to be that effective. You by yourself, when things get to a certain point where people are grouping to help each other, you know, if you haven't been involved with the team, how are you gonna expect to be a part? If you've taken yourself out of the community, how do you expect to be a part of the community? You can't be in two places at the same time, you know. So so what I would say is that it comes back down to resources. Yeah. Don't worry, we all do it. We forget sometimes. It comes down to resources, meaning that success begets success. And if you're successful, you only hang around successful people because it just makes sense. Because you're not going to get like Beyonce, Jay-Z, or whoever. They don't move with people who are thinking differently. You got to move with the people that are thinking in the same way you're thinking. You know, and I'm not saying everyone hasn't got something to give, but at the same time, you can't. You have to move with the people that get it and wait for the others to catch up, because time is of the essence. So when you say when there's a time limit, look, the one guy did it in a couple of weeks. We could do it today.
I was about to say all that, because I still feel that I told you I'm going to play God's advocate today. And we don't play the devil's advocate because Ace got taught. I don't advocate for the devil. I advocate for God. And the brother said an interesting point earlier. You talked about, how do I know that this isn't my purpose? And I was nodding my head because I know this is my purpose. I don't need to question that. And I've said it many a times. Ace Got Talk. You can check out my YouTube channel, Ace Got Talk. You can also follow me on Instagram, Ace Got Talk. You can also follow this show, our Fiwe Show, on Instagram, AHFIWESHOE, Ace Got Talk. I've been saying this consistently for the last year. All men are created equal, but only few choose to walk in their greatness.
So I agree with you on that one.
Say that again. Oh, we can wrap that out quickly.
All men are not created equal.
Are we talking about 6 and 9? Yeah.
I ain't gonna go into details.
Are we talking about on a genetical DNA, right?
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
but all right, cool.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, right, all men are created equal, but only few choose to walk in their greatness, right? So, no, she's gonna have to wait. Right, so I still feel we're missing a trick tonight. And this is why I'm putting it out there. We talked about the gentleman who, I think he hobbled up and down his garden on a Zimmer frame, and he raised £20 million in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
He didn't go on TV. Well, then again, I think they did do a couple of social medias. I think they got a little bit of social media. But what I'm saying is, he had a cause. There was no talking. And as you know, Ace got talk. Everybody knows me. I'm not a talker. I'm a man. We're going to do it. All right, it's on. We get on with it. They didn't talk. They didn't discuss it. They go on with it. Bang. 3 weeks later, 20 million in the bank.
Right.
Now I'm saying,
so you see, if we stop talking, and right now, 1 million people that are watching this, I don't know what the numbers are.
Yeah.
Stop talking and just go on neshat.co.uk right now and
there we
put
go,
a pound.
There we go, my brother.
It'll be done.
There we go.
Yeah, it'll be done. Right, in 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Remember, we're talking about globally.
But I'm saying rather than
the
talk
time
about
limit is,
why
it's subjective.
Right, I'm saying rather than talk about, and I want you to come in on this one, Ella, because when you're going to hear about you, but rather than talk about, but you know, black people, we don't support each other, and you know, we think like this and we think like that. Tell the audience why they should. Why? This is, listen, I need £1 million because like we're gonna do this. It's gonna appeal to their. It's a no-brainer that if anyone's sitting at home and watching this, they'd be silly not to donate £1 right now.
Well, like I said, right. Firstly, we've put all of this on our website because there's time limits, right? So if you go to neshat.co.uk, we've already listed what we're gonna do, what is it for, all of that, like you say. The thing is, if you know the climate and the time we're living in right now and what's going on around you and the fact that there aren't any opportunities, and we can now see like what is possible with the draconian measures, and when people start saying you have to take a vaccine, that if you don't take it, you can't go back to school. If you don't take it, you can't go back to work. If you don't take it, this and this is going to happen. See, the fear is going to come in because people are going to be like, I'm not going to have a job. Oh, my business. But if you don't want to be put in that type of position where you're afraid of all of these things, donate the £1, because then we can help whoever needs the help by creating our own businesses. People can get employment by helping people set up their own businesses, by creating schools. We don't have to worry about, I'm not going to take my children back to school, because you will have a school and you will have qualified teachers. Like I say, don't go to a hospital and then complain how they treat you, or if you don't make it to come back out of the hospital. We will have our own hospitals. We've got enough, what Nella was saying, we've got enough skills in the community.
Do you think?
We've got doctors, we've got doctors, lawyers, solicitors.
Do you think £1 million's enough?
No, it's not. For people who have ever dealt with any type of serious business, £1 million is not enough. It's a drop in the ocean. 20 million compared to 1 million. So I mean, like £1 million is not enough, but it's enough to start. Every journey starts with the first step.
And can I just say something for the cameras? I had a little rant. Sorry to cut you, my brother.
No problem.
But just about this 20 million. Well, I'm gonna throw it out there. I had a little rant. This is Ace Got Talk, unapologetically Ace right now. The gloves off. I had a little rant on my TV show earlier. I'm also on my radio program earlier about the whole save the NHS. Yeah, Ace Got Talk. Yeah, this is freedom of speech. Yeah. £20 million raised for the NHS. And if people actually understood the mechanism of the NHS and how it works, yeah, it's a business. It's a business. The NHS is a straight business, you know? So when you're talking about raising money for the NHS, you're raising money for a business that doesn't act in the interest of the people it's supposed to serve.
But
And I've had my own personal experiences earlier. Recently, in the last few months, I had a minor issue, and I had to go to the hospital, and I needed to get a scan. But before I could get scanned, I need to go through triage. And then you got to go through triage, and then you got to get your scan, and then you got to get that seen by a doctor. There's a process. And then because it was late, I came back. I got the scan, but there was no doctor to see me. So I had to say this was like 12, 1 o'clock, and I said, come back the next day. So I come back the next day with my scan. They scanned me already, but before I see the doctor, we've got to go through triage again, which is name, address, David. I said, but I'll come through triage already. There's nothing wrong with it. They've scanned me. Yes, I just need to see the doctor to check, to tell me what my results are. The nurse sitting there turned around and said to me, Ace, this is a business. Every time we book you into triage, that's 150 quid. So when people understand what you're saving, you're not saving a charitable organization that's actually there's 8,000 people dying, 8,000 children dying in Africa every day of starvation.
It's just a quick thing I want to say on what you said, right?
So just
the model,
yeah,
the business model. Like people think Facebook is free. People on Facebook every day giving them content. Facebook is making millions from marketing and advertising and segmentizing and doing all that in the background. So what I'm saying, I'm agreeing with you that a lot of supposedly public services and organizations, they're making money. It's just the model they put in front of you, you might think it's not a business.
Right.
And this is why most medical, like if you look at America, most of the medical services are privatized. And this is what they're trying to say about the NHS, like they don't want it to be privatized. Watch the ride.
Yeah. So you throw 20 million pounds at a business, but then we've got charitable organizations in the community that are actually on the ground serving the people. I mean, I can speak for yourself. I've seen the work that you've done, and I can speak for even Real Talk Radio and the volunteers down there that have been literally hand to mouth, running around, you know, burning petrol, driving around, buying groceries, and actually on the ground getting food to where it's needed. And these are a lot of unsung heroes that never actually get the
same acclamation.
The same acclamation. But oh, save the NHS, you know, they're doing a great job.
Can I just make a point?
Of course you can, sweetie.
You know what you said about the man, what would you say to the man that's in his house or his flat or whatever with his children and he's safe and he's like, I don't need to participate in that, I'm safe, I'm happy. On the flip side of that, there are people out there that might be that may not be able to work because of the situation that we're in, who aren't okay, who do need an income. You know, they may be having problems getting universal credit, you know, or income support or whatever benefits they may think are available to them, but it might be a long process. So for those people, the money raised could help people to start up working from home. For example, I teach, so I could teach from home, but I might need some resources, you know. So if I don't have the funds for resources, then, you know, I could go to Nishat and say, could you help me out to get started? And then I could give something back and help sustain it. Someone else may have a different profession. I don't know, someone that an engineer, someone who works in IT, just something that they may not have worked from home before, or they may even just need some advice. There are people that we know that could give them advice, but they could be, you know, sponsored or paid to do that or something. It's just supporting people. So there are people that will be sitting at home thinking, how can Nishat help me? Yeah. Go to the website, contact us. We'll let you know how we can help you, but it's only £1.
Ace said something really profound when you said...
That was brilliant, sister. Thank you for that input. Really good. Okay, my brother.
No, I've just lost the thought. You said...
something really profound.
Yeah, but I just lost it. It will come back if it's important. But it was to do with... You said... it's kind of on the same point. You reminded me of it, but I think I got interrupted. But let's move on.
While you're doing that, it's the same. I know there's so many amazing organizations out there that
that's it, it's come back. And the reason it came back is when you said £1 million, is that enough, right? And I said no, because we kind of brushed that aside. It's a start. We've got experts in the community who are great at investing, who are great at us turning that money and flipping it and flipping it and flipping it. So there are things we will do that once we get that first step, we can then do things to obviously grow it and invest in businesses and
the compound effect. The compound effect.
Absolutely.
Brother, I mean, personally, I'm very capable in your I'm very confident in your ability, and I'm very confident in if you was to raise a large amount of money, that money would go into helping the community. And I've always been a admirer of your integrity and your intellect and your education. So I think I'm behind you, like I said, 100%. I think this particular topic is one that I have some passion, like when I'm speaking about, because I myself get frustrated knowing how difficult it can be at the time to get what I call inertia, which is get that momentum going when it comes to getting behind anything. And it's just frustrating to see there's so many great organizations. We've mentioned a few tonight, but there's so many we haven't mentioned, that some great organizations that are doing great things in the community. And if they just had the right financial support, they would just explode and be absolutely amazing. But it goes deeper to what you said. We know that there is an agenda in place to keep us held back economically. Hence why Ace Got Talk started the Business Community Entrepreneur Show, because I decided to use my gift to encourage my community to be more entrepreneurial, and be more economically savvy. What I find personally, and this is me just giving my 2 pence, the COVID-19 has just really, really, it's like a lot of people are just just hit a dead wall. And for Ace Got Talk, through someone who for a long time was explaining the benefits of ownership and owning things yourself, this is why we haven't been affected. Shout out to MediaNet TV, yeah. I feel with things, yeah. Shout out to MediaNet TV. I feel with show. So the show can't lock off. Shout out to everybody down at Supreme 99.8 FM. I feel with things. Shout out to everybody down. So there's a lot of organizations. It's all about ownership. It's all about being in a position where we can continue to broadcast and we can continue to put the information out there without any disruption. What COVID-19 has put the brakes on a lot of people, a lot of organizations, a lot of business. And now what I think in regards to practical solutions is we need to be thinking about not only organizing ourselves, but organizing ourselves in a way that we're unbreakable. What I mean by unbreakable is no one can't just come and switch the light off.
That's right.
You know, and the only way to do that is to build the economic
like you
platform,
keep saying. That's how they've managed to keep us where we are, and that's why I'm saying that if this situation with the COVID coronavirus and what we're seeing, if that hasn't punched people in the face to wake up and say, you know what, this time around is different. We have to get together. We have to come together, and we have to do this to make it that more real, that we've broken that change of economics.
Onella, you want to say something?
I was going to say that Amanda said earlier, she made a really, really good point, which is that we're mainly consumers, but we're not owners. So we consume, we buy, but we don't own businesses.
Yeah.
So if we had the funds to open a shop, in a crisis like this, for example, if we had the funds to open a shop and operate as an essential business, we could employ our own staff. I mean, if you go down the high street, you can see that the main businesses open are big commercial, stores like Tesco's or whatever, and mainly Asian businesses. And I'm not casting aspersions or anything. I'm just saying, and they are employing people, because a lot of people don't want to work, so they're taking people on as long as they're prepared to wear masks and stuff. But all the people that they're taking on are Asian. It's a business model, right? You have a business and you employ your own. That's the model. Okay, so for example, if we had the funds, we could have our shop. We could be bringing in stock and employing people and contributing to our own economy in that way.
See, this is the things I keep hearing. I think we've got to a point now where, in this day and time, are we really gonna keep talking? If with this, like you say, we could do this. We can do it right now. We could do it today. We can do it next week. If we can just change our mind state. And I've just said it as well. That's a programming, right? So I'm saying that we know what the problem is in our community. It's resources, especially economic. That's what it is. And so how are we going to break that? Because you go to the bank who's going to give you the resources on the scale that we need? That's what we have to think about. And like Amanda said and Onella said, it's the future of our children as well. You have to think, what are you leaving them? Do you want them to go and work for somebody else? Or do you want them to be able to work for their own, or be set up in a position where they can be more creative, independent, innovative, because they've got a lot of ideas. But if no one's going to fund you, your idea is just going to be on the shelf, So there you go. Brilliant.
Controlling our own economic destiny is imperative. I get it, you get it, or Nelly gets it. I really hope the listeners get it, you know, because I know how much this project means to not only to yourself but to community. And like you said, it's the £1 million challenge. I think it's quite sad if we can't raise £1 million between us. It just really shows the state of where we are. But we know we're the state where we are anyway, because we know how bad it is.
It's like a social experiment as well.
Yeah.
I want to see, like, have we been like, see, as a people, we're loving, caring, sharing, community vibes. Like we always say, it takes a village to raise a child. This is our nature. We've been taught to think differently, to think individualism, to think even capitalist, you know, like a capitalist. So what I'm saying is, we've lost the empathy. We like, when it comes to love, care, concern, people will walk past homeless people sleeping on the street like it's nothing now, because you see it all the time. I mean, people will see real, really sad things that are happening to us as a people, racism, etc., and we just act like it's not happening. But now we've got to be able to, like, get back to who we really are, like that passion, that love, that care, that concern of each other, and be able to be like, you know what? Oh, if only we don't want to. If only we had a school. If only we had our own bank. If only we had our own grocery, big supermarket store. If only we could this. If no more ifs. Is we can do it right now. Yeah. It takes 1 million people to put £1. We've got £1 million. We get the experts, and we do our thing, and then that just grows and grows and grows, and that's it. We just
can I
move forward.
Ask you a question. I'll start with you, Nella. Do you think that people still sitting down at home waiting for lockdown to finish so they can just go back to their lives before this happens, so they're not really seeing the urgency for a project like this? What's your thoughts on that?
Definitely. Probably the majority of people are not looking objectively at what's going on and thinking that something kind of nefarious is going on, like what's actually going on, and doing diligent research and investigating exactly what COVID-19 is, what corona is, what's in a possible vaccination, how can it be manufactured so quickly. The majority of people are probably not thinking like that, because they don't think, they just do what they're told. So, you know, I think, but it seems like a growing number of people are starting to wake up and see that something is going on.
Because we haven't spoke about that at all today. And you know me, I'm big on polarities, and everything works on the balance, yin and yang, you know, positive and negative. And for as much as we've got those out there that are asleep, you know, we are in the last few weeks, I've been witness to a massive awakening, and there is a shift in consciousness. So there are a lot of people that are now woke and can see, you know, behind the curtain, so to speak, and that must offer some type of hope, right? I
don't really deal with hope, you know, but what I know where you're coming from. I do know that we're living in a different time now. There's been a shift, dimensional shift. There's a paradigm shift. There's a lot of awakening, as you say. There are people who are coming back to their own, and they're realizing there's an inner calling that you just feel it. There's an alignment, a synchronicity that's happening at the moment as well. And as a people, we are the same wherever you go. So I'm saying 6 billion, nearly 7 billion people on the planet. Billion. There must be 1 million people that are thinking the way we're thinking on that conscious level. And those are the people we're appealing to. You know, and even if you're just someone who, it's not even about education or status or, you know what I mean, how much money you've got, because we've made it so easy, so simple that every single person can afford £1. I told you my niece, it nearly brought tears to my, when I went on, because we check obviously what's coming in every day, and I saw her name, and she's 11 years old, and she just did it. And I was like, wow, look at that. Yeah, I had big man on the phone for 20 minutes trying to tell me how it's not going to work. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I
Negativity.
don't want to hear it's not going to work, because if we go by that type of energy, we ain't going to go nowhere. We might as well just roll up, curl up, and just wait to die. You know what I mean? We got to be thinking positive. We got to think we can do this,
Yeah.
and just use
And,
that.
and
energy
how is
to
it?
move forward.
How is it going?
There's still a lot to do, and that's the other thing as well in terms of the transparency. We've actually put a meter on the website, which is showing you how the money is growing. So you can log in right now and see where we're at. There's still obviously some we haven't updated yet, but what we do is that every day you can go on the website, you can check the progress, the questions and the answers that people are giving us, all on the website. But it's going really well in the sense of the feedback and people calling and saying, you know what, I love this, I'm going to support it, I'm going to tell other people about it. We've had donations from Africa, from America. It's global, you know. It is going well. Still a lot more to do. We haven't even actually started doing any sort of formal campaign for this yet.
Yeah.
Just yourself hosting us on this show and a bit of social media and so on. But yeah, we've still got a long way to go.
Brilliant. And Ornella, tell us a little bit about the Nashat and the role you play within the organisation.
I just help out where I can. You know, if I'm
Come on, you do a little bit more than that. You do a bit more than that. Come on.
I like the modesty. Yeah, she does.
Well, I do what I can. At the moment, I'm homeschooling my 2-year-old, 2 years and 8 months. So I'm pretty much, you know, focusing on that at the moment. It takes up a lot of my time, but other than that, like I said, I'm just available to help out where I can. You know, there's a lot to do. It's not just the store itself; it's everything else that's going on in the community. You know, there's a lot. It's, you know, but it's great. It's great.
I mean, what we do, as you know, before,
just for the viewers that probably ain't aware of Nashat.
I was just gonna,
just give them an overview.
So Nashat means energy, and our ethos is because we from the onset we sat down together, and that's the other thing as well. People might see me and forget there's a team of people behind, or not behind, but with me. So we've got all the beautiful sisters that you've seen here today, but there are others, experts, professionals, because we offer a holistic service. So Nashat means energy, and it's energy of the African culture. So it's the Nashat is African Cultural Center, and at the center we deal with education. So we've got, you know, people that are experts in that field. We have a plethora of books covering every subject. We do with teaching and workshops. We've got, as I said, a recording studio. We sell all types of products, health and well-being products. That's the other thing when we were talking about thinking, is that in order to think properly, a lot of that has to do with your diet and your health. You know, because if you're not putting the right fuel into the car, it's not going to perform as good. So we cover all the health and natural products, and obviously all the clothes. This is, you know, African cultural clothes and things like that. And we have different people coming in and delivering different workshops on every topic you can think about, financial literacy, all sorts. So, you know, we do a lot, and we do things for young people, things for the elderly. We also distributing food. And, you know, we do what we can for the community. But it's, as we say, mind, body, spirit, and soul. So we cover the whole spectrum.
Brilliant. And do you have a specific day for your food deliveries? How does that work?
No, at the moment, with that's actually something we've not because that's our specialist thing we do. Because of the current situation, we find that you know, people were going to supermarkets and like the shelves are empty. So as we were saying, we were like, we don't have our own supermarket, superstore we can go to, like a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's. So we said, okay, let's start doing something about it. So people donate in food, and we help to distribute that to whoever needs it in the community. They can come to us and, you know, let us know their situation, and we help with that, because we realize that food, shelter, clothing, you know, these are the basic necessities that, you know, people need. And during this particular time, you know, it's becoming harder and harder for people to get access to those things.
Yeah, I mean, just for the listeners at home, I'll give you a great example of, you know, a lot of the time, people say black people don't work together, and you know, there's no unity in the community. Well, just as you mentioned the food situation, I know Real Talk Radio have been doing food parcels in the community, but they've been covering Northwest London.
Right.
And you've got other charitable organizations that have been, covering South, East, and West. And one of the most amazing acts of togetherness I've witnessed of late is all of the different charitable organizations, well, not all of them, but a few of them that are operating in London, rather than running all over London and crossing wires, people leaving West and going over to South, people leaving East and going over to West. They've actually organized themselves to collectively,
right,
they can cover
then
the whole
go
of
to
London.
your nearest
You can go to your nearest
Yeah.
charitable organization,
yeah.
which is offering food. So I thought, as a collective, that was a very it was just good to see that community spirit from the London community at a time like this. So well done to everybody involved. That my brother, do you just want to, before we go, just tell everybody where they can get you, the website again, how they can donate, etc.
Sure. If you go to nashat.co.uk, you will see the 1 million challenge. There's a link that takes you to the 1 million challenge page, and all the information is on there in terms of how you can donate. You can do it straight away. You can contact us. We've got our address, telephone number, and everything on the website. You can pick up the phone and call us. Email, whatever you feel is good for you to contact us, and we'll be able to, to speak to you and give you any more information. I don't know if I missed anything.
Nope.
Yeah, so nashat.co.uk.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Telephone number.
So, Dr. Jude Joseph from the Nashat African Cultural Centre joined in good company here. I've been joined by the Royal Empress Ornella and also Amanda Bass, also from the African Cultural Centre down in Croydon. Be sure to check them out. Dr. Jude Joseph, his mission is to raise £1 million. It's the £1 challenge. You can all donate just £1. Yeah, this takes 1 million of us to donate £1, and the doctor has got the money he needs to help several organizations in the community. I think it's an absolutely great appeal, and I'm urging everybody to get behind Dr. Jude and Nashat. One other organization that I know I've mentioned repeatedly throughout the show, but I think the main reason why I mentioned them is because in this current pandemic, so many people are suffering from mental health issues, and I've often given the definition of mental health is just literally being the state of your mind. Just like our body, you can be healthy or unhealthy. I've got to go to the gym, I need to get fit again. It's the same way our minds can, get unfit, especially when they're polluted with a lot of propaganda and fear mongering and all the other stuff that's there that has been you guys have been unfortunately privy to over the last couple of weeks. So the state of our minds can go down, and self-isolation also has an effect on your mental health. So hence why I keep mentioning realtalkradio.co.uk. If you know anybody nationally that is suffering from stress, anxiety, feeling depressed, self-harming, feeling suicidal, please get them to get in touch. realtalkradio.co.uk, fill out the help services form, and you will get a counsellor on the phone to you within 24 hours. Likewise, if you know anyone who's struggling financially and needs help with food, fill out a form, realtalkradio.co.uk, anywhere inside the M25, and either Real Talk Radio or one of their delivery partners will make sure we get food to you. Likewise, if you guys want to donate, you can also do that via the website, which is www.realtalkradio.co.uk. London Town, the UK. Once again, you've been an absolutely fantastic audience. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the regular listeners that have been following the journey. A Scott Talk, a Philly show. Shout out to everybody that's been logged in on the Facebook and all the social medias. Oh, and one more thing before I go. As you know, this Sunday, the 3rd of May, I'm starting a new show called Love Zone, and that was a result of the very successful 3-part show we did last week called Love languages. Myself and my new co-host, Yvonne Michelle, who is an international, inspirational, motivational speaker and female empowerer. Love languages. You can check that out on medianet.tv. What we start to do is we examine the language of love. A man and a woman, they can be in a relationship for many years, but how they communicate love and affection is completely different. So if you guys want to catch up on that, I've got so much feedback. They said, guys, it's an amazing 3-part show. You can catch that on MediaNet Live TV on YouTube. You can also catch that up on MediaNet Live TV on Facebook, Love Language. And we're starting a brand new, my debut show called Love Zone, where we're going to be talking about sex, baby. It's Got Talk, Yvonne Michelle, next Sunday, right here, MediaNet Live TV. Until then, salut.